Oh, very nice. All right. Welcome back, everyone. This is going to be podcast number 25. This one, I know we were saying before, we were talking about we're going to do like the second round of the playoffs, but with scheduling and stuff like that, it's very difficult to get accurate projections out there. So right now, we're just going to do Bruins and Islanders because that's the one series that's fully set. And obviously, we're a Rhode Island based podcast. We're all Bruins fans basically here. So we want to talk about that. But before we get into the video, we're going to hear something from our sponsor. All right. Now that we've seen what the sponsor is, we're going to move just straight into our. We're going to talk quickly about the last series, the Bruins and Capitals. The Bruins ended up winning the series 4-1 after it was a gentleman's sweep. Um, you guys take it away. What was your favorite thing about watching last series going into this series? Ryan, why don't you start?
All right. So, I thought this was this is the hardest opponent that we could have faced in the first round. I feel like Washington was the team we struggled against the most throughout the season. So I figured going into it, this would be the hardest team, and they gave us some pretty good games down the stretch, even when we did make those deadline acquisitions with Hall, Lazar, and Riley. So, but I was proud of our team. We definitely got better as the series went on. And I was happy to see that we were really, even though we allowed their big guns like Ovechkin and to score, making him the only one to really score in that series. But we really were able to neutralize him in the best way possible, and we really did not let them get away from us at all at any time in that series.
I just
Anybody
want to
else would like
say,
to add?
yeah, I just got to say, I was so happy to see Tuukka Rask come and dominate a playoff series. Like, he was lights out every single game. He gave him a chance to win every game. And just look at game 5. They get outshot 40-19 and they come away with a 3-1 win. That's not supposed to happen. And there's one reason that it happened. And it's Tuukka Rask. And I'm hoping that Boston fans are finally starting to appreciate what they, especially after seeing this Penguins and Islanders series. I mean, and seeing what Tristan Jarry was doing to the Penguins, like, I hope this made Bruins fans a little bit more appreciative of what we have in Tuukka Rask.
Well, we've had for a while.
Yeah,
now.
what we have had for Tuukka Rask in a while.
All right, you guys can stop taking shots at me now. Okay.
That was a plan.
Kenny or Kyle, what would you like to add?
I'll go on. I'll go on to what Ryan said. They cleaned up every game. They were getting better game after game. Less turnovers, obviously, that killed them in the first game. They still have a little bit to clean up for the next series, but I think they will do it in practice. And yeah, just coming up big, getting better by the game, Tuukka playing big, all of that contributed to getting them to the 4-1.
For me, the players that really came out were simply Jake DeBrusk, David Pastrnak, and Charlie McAvoy. Again, they're not really known as like very offensive. Well, especially after what happened this year, Pastrnak didn't really have much of a strong regular season. Same with Jake DeBrusk, and Charlie McAvoy is not really much of an offensive guy because he plays defense. It was great to see that they contributed to the offense greatly, which helped Bruins get goals.
I think the resurgence of DeBrusk was huge for them on that third line because now they have 2 elite lines. But then, towards the end of the regular season, seeing how DeBrusk and Coyle were looking on that third line, you really weren't confident with them rolling out the bottom 6. But the resurgence of DeBrusk, seeing him drive play, go hard to the net, things that we weren't seeing from him in the regular season, that really gave the Bruins 3 lines that can go out and be a threat to score at any time. And more into the depth scoring, I really don't think they win this series without Taylor Hall. Even how good Tuukka Rask was, like, I don't know if Jake DeBrusk is as good as he is on the second line as he was on the third line. Without Taylor Hall really driving that line, turning it into one of the best second lines in the league, I don't know if they have the scoring to win this series.
I think if they wouldn't have Taylor Hall, they would have had to win that strictly on goaltending and goaltending alone.
They would have been winning every game like 2-1, 1-0.
Yeah. I feel like another thing about the series for me was our ability to neutralize the penalty kill. And the one player for me that stuck out there was Connor Clifton, who took 2 shots off the ankle from Alexander Ovechkin and went right back in the game. That was game 4. Yeah, that guy, it really is a testament to our special teams coach as well. I think that's Jay Pandolfo. I think he runs the penalty kills. Or is it Joe Sacco? I can't remember who it was who does the penalty kills. But I mean, we really started to neutralize, especially their penalty kill. Yeah, we took so many penalties. You can look at our penalty minutes where Marchand had 10 penalty minutes in that series, and when we did take a penalty, we really started to neutralize that play where they love to set Ovi up in that right above the circle, and he just winds up and claps one. And we were really starting to fade away a player over to that side and get a block shot. And Clifton was definitely one of them, along with Brandon Carlo, who was playing some shutdown defense along Alexander Ovechkin when he was in that prime shooting area for the power play.
I will say,
Yeah, I'm very impressed with how the penalty kill played this series, because during the regular season it seemed like no one was stopping that power play, and then I think in the playoffs, I think they held Ovechkin to one power play goal. I think it was the game that we went to. Well, a couple people in the chat went to.
Yeah,
I think that was the only power play goal Ovechkin had all series, and it really wasn't your conventional Ovechkin power play goal. It was a turnover breakdown. It wasn't from his spot, so they really shut down Ovechkin in his office, and I thought that the way they played on the penalty kill, it pretty much neutralized the Capitals' power play, which killed them in the regular season. That was huge for them this series too.
And we brought up the third line too, and it was although they were definitely on the score sheet with 3 points from Ritchie, 3 points from DeBrusque, and 2 from Coyle. I saw, especially at the game we were at, they were a very good forechecking line. Like they were definitely, and also Coyle was making some pretty clutch plays too with the puck and causing some. He allowed that goal in Game 2 where he completely faked out the defenseman, faked out Craig Anderson, and wrapped it around and gave a prime shot in the open net for Jake DeBrusque. So that line was definitely not gelling, not just on the offensive side, but also on the forechecking and defensive side as well during that series.
Underrated line.
Definitely, that was one that I actually ripped all the year.
All right, so I think that'll be pretty good for talking about the previous series, but now we get to move on to another very difficult series where, the top 4 teams in that division, whoever face each other, it's going to be pretty close. They're all very close in points, record-wise, and pretty much statistically and player and lines and everything. They're all pretty close in talent. So the Bruins get to face the Islanders, and the Islanders themselves are also on a little bit of a streak because they lost. They were down 2-1 in the series, I think, and then they won 3 in a row to not sweep out, but beat the Penguins. So Islanders are also on a roll going into this series, but I'll let you guys take over with you guys' predictions. I want predictions, how many games, and who's going to be the MVP of the series.
The first thing for me is that the Bruins record versus the Islanders doesn't look that great. But when you look at it again, ever since the Taylor Hall trade, the Bruins were 3-0 versus the Islanders. And their goals for was 10 and their goals against was 4. So it was a 10-4 ratio over those 3 games with Taylor Hall in the lineup. And so when you look at, we were 3-5 versus them this year, but those 3 wins came after the deadline. So it definitely looks good that this is definitely a really good outcome, but you can never discount the Islanders because they've had a history of making some pretty good playoff runs with probably one of the better coaches of our generation in Barry Trotz. So I'm going to go Bruins in 5 again. I think that this is definitely the weaker opponent for us versus the Penguins. I did a little bit more of research, and I think that this one's going to be a little bit this is a weaker opponent than the Capitals, but I don't think they're going to sweep this one either.
Yeah, I thought I was. Oh, sorry, were you done?
I think my MVP is going to be Taylor Hall. I'm sorry, we got to go Taylor Hall.
I was just going to say that. I wanted to see what your MVP was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, of course. Honestly, I thought I was going to have the hot take saying Bruins in 5, but honestly, the Islanders don't scare me at all. You see that last series, they really they shouldn't even be here. Tristan Jarry is the reason they are here right now. Yeah. Whatever he had is negative 7.5 goals saved above expected, and that really came. You look at it in 6 games, that's still over. 1 goal above expected per game for him. He had a good game too. So those really came in 5 games. He's the reason the Islanders are here right now. The Bruins have had no trouble scoring on Sorokin this year, especially after the Taylor Hall trade. The Islanders offense is very dull. It took a bad goalie for them to get their offense going. They're not going to have that kind of shooting talent against Tuukka Rask, who's in my opinion, the hottest goalie in the playoffs right now. Maybe, second to Connor Hellebuck, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But, they really don't scare me at all. I think the Islanders are going to steal one at home. I think you got to give them a home game. But Bruins go up 2-0 at home. Islanders take one home game, make it 2-1. Bruins win the next two. They're 5 games. I think it'll be pretty easy for the Bruins. I think they're going to carry most of the play. They're going to control most of the expected goals percentage. It's really all going to be in their favor. And MVP for this series, I'm honestly going to go with Taylor Hall too. I think he's going to have 4 goals, 2 assists this series. I think he's going to, because he's had, he dominated the Islanders all year. I think he played the 3 games he played against them with the Bruins. He had 4 goals against them, and I think give him 5 games against them. I think he's got 4 goals, 2 assists in them, 2 assists in him. Yeah, I think he's really going to carry that second line, and that's how it's going to go.
The one thing that I saw from the Pittsburgh series that whenever they started Varlamov, they lost, and whenever they started Sorokin, they won. So I feel like Varlamov gave us some difficulties, not too much during the regular season, but I feel like now with Varlamov being their number one that they started off with, him struggling in the playoffs, I think we'll have no problem scoring on any of their goaltenders they throw at us. And both their goalies were not great at all, but they were both collectively better than Jari, so I think that's what pushed them over the edge. But I don't see this being a tough series at all for us.
Yeah. I'll put mine out there. I'll keep mine nice, short, and simple. I think I'll give the Islanders 2 games. I think the Bruins win this series in 6. I'm sure you're gonna hear very similar answers from all 5 of us because we're all Bruins fans. But I say the MVP of the series needs to just be the big physical guys. I think if the big physical guys can continue kind of like what Nick Ritchie and Craig Smith were kind of like the forechecking line you guys were mentioning earlier. Like, I think if they can continue that this series, those would be the MVP guys. Pastrnak, Bergeron, Marchand, Hall. Those guys are going to get you points. Krejci. Those are going to be your goals, your assists. Those are those guys. But I'm looking at Craig Smith, Nick Ritchie, and the defense for forechecking purposes. I think McAvoy is going to have a really good series as well. But if I were to pick a MVP other than just the forechecking line, I'll go with Krejci. I think Krejci is going to have like one of those good like a good series.
Mm-hmm.
I think so too. How many points did Krejci have last series? Is he on there?
2.
I think he had 2.
Right there. 2 points.
He had 2. Playoff Krejci hasn't even arrived yet, so we're
Yeah,
forgetting about that. Playoff Krejci is a different breed.
Yeah. Especially
What do
in
you think,
2013.
Kenny?
I think it's going to be a sweep, honestly. Like Joe said, I don't think this team is a great playoff team. Obviously, they face Jari, who literally lets fucking pucks in from anywhere.
Couldn't stop the
And
beach ball.
yeah, I think if they clean up all their turnovers, obviously the usual offense they've had against this team, it's going to overwhelm either goalie, and I think it'll be a 4-game series easy. And for my MVP, I'm going to go different. I think I'm going to go Tuukka on this one. Get a few shout-outs in.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Finn?
For me, I'm going to say the Bruins win this in 6. They're going to end it down in Long Island in the Loud Barn. Biggest thing for the Bruins is that they're going to have a sold-out crowd every game. It's going to be 18,000 packed in there. Right now, we're the only stadium that's going to have a full 18,000. Everyone else is at like 75 right now, so we're going to have the advantage. Biggest player-wise right now, I'd like to see more Jake DeBrusk. If he can get more assists and more goals, that would definitely be awesome. But MVP is clearly the 6th man on the ice, and that's Tuukka.
I have a question I'd like to throw out to the rest of you guys. What player are you going to look for to step up in this playoff series? Like who was not great in the first series that should pick it up next series? Joe, you want to leave that one off?
Yeah.
Krejci.
I'm not going to say necessarily – well, yeah, Krejci's a good answer. I'm going to go someone a little less known than that. I'm going to go with Tenorti because it looks like Kevin Miller is not going to be back for the rest of the playoffs. Well, for the foreseeable future at least. And Tenorti's the next man up for that third pairing. And, I really need to see him bring some of that physicality and toughness that Kevin Miller brings. I know those are kind of like, broad hockey terminology that you hear on NBC from the the guys that sometimes know what they're talking about, sometimes they don't. But I think it actually really does apply to Tenori because he can be a similar player to Kevin Miller, bring that little intimidation and physicality factor to that third pairing, to that Bruins decor. So I'm looking to see him step into a bigger role than most anticipated he would have this playoffs.
And Tenorti's kind of big too because as Bruins fans, we know the history of Kevin Miller and how he's kind of made of glass. And it's not really his fault. He's just had really unfortunate injuries for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he's putting himself in these situations. It's hockey. You get hurt. Unfortunately, he's just had the bad end of the stick. That's just what it is. And it's not like, he gets these little, upper body, lower body injuries. He's out for a week, comes back after missing 3 or 4 games. He's like
major injuries.
Yeah, like I'm gonna snap my leg in half. I'm gonna be out for a year and a half. Like you'd be surprised if we play hockey again. But then he comes back, and he actually didn't play half bad this year when he did play. He's kind of a good story.
I thought he was great when he played this year. Honestly, he was much better.
He's a really good story.
Yeah,
really, really good story.
I was questioning that signing with him in the beginning, but now I'm happy that when he was in the lineup, he's been a pretty effective player for us. So.
But yeah, like I said, I think that Krejci, I'm looking forward to seeing him. It's not that he needs to step up. It's just, points-wise, he only had 2 points in the first thing. But sometimes points don't mean everything. It's hockey, Sometimes just making the extra pass, taking a hit for a pass to get through, or setting things up. Like, David Krejci was also a positive of the plus-minus in the first series as well. So, as you can tell, when he's on the ice, they're up. So, that's my pick.
Mine are going to be kind of a culmination of 2 players that I feel have to keep up their consistency. And number one is Pastrnak. Although he had he had a solid point. He had a really good point total, above a point per game. He had so many turnovers. He was a defensive liability for us. And I was kind of questioning how effective he would be in the series. But he's got to keep up his consistency and not cause a lot of those turnovers. But another one for me is Mike Riley. I feel like even though he did have a +5, hopefully he's a little bit more offensive this year. I saw him get few turnovers as well in there. So those 2 players for me are the ones that I'm looking forward to, to stepping it up definitely. And Mike Riley, he did log 20 minutes a game, but I feel like he's got to step it up a little bit more offensively.
Mr. Kenny or Kyle, would you like to?
Yeah, I can say a player. Yeah, I can say someone. I'd like to see more of Connor Clifton. As you can see on the ice, he has a +3, so he definitely has a positive impact on the ice. He gets good time on the ice. He averages an 18:48 per game in the 4 games that he has played. I think he definitely is a menace on defense, and I believe if he can, bring a few good setups and make sure to get to the right player, set up the play well, I think he could get more assists and finally get on the board with a point.
Kenny?
Yeah, definitely. I got to go Krejci on this one. Again, as Ryan pointed out with Pastrnak, he had a couple of bad turnovers, as you saw in the previous games. And as Joe pointed out, I don't think playoff Krejci has come out yet. And I think if he comes out well this series, he's going to get goals on the board, 3 to 4 to 5 points, and help the team overall.
I will add this in quick. And as Bruins fans, I think we can agree with this. I think we would like to see Taylor Hall and Pastrnak be less pretty when they play. Like, sometimes like they try to get too cute with the play through neutral ice or whatever. Like I feel
what you mean.
Like come playoff time, you need to really possess the puck and at least get the puck in. Like no more trying to be cute, going between the legs. If it works, it works. It's awesome.
Hey, it did work once.
It's a highlight. It's a highlight. But at the same time, that's regular season if you do that. But now it's postseason. You're now onto the second round where these games are even more important as the level, it's the competition's rising, obviously. So that's just my
Taylor Hall. If you can pull it off. If your name is Taylor Hall and you can do the goal he scored in Game 3. And I'm not going to question it at all if you pull that off. No way.
Oh, no. Yeah. Like, that wasn't bad. I'm talking about, like, neutral ice. Like, if you try to do that, the net trying to shoot a shot, whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's the neutral ice turnovers that has killed the Bruins from time to time this year. And that's what hurts Tuukka Rask. I'm not the biggest Tuukka Rask guy in the world, but we all have to admit here that the defense at times or the turnovers is what hurts him the most.
A lot of the goals
he's put in 2-on-1 situations, 2-on-1, 3-on-2 situations. But To move on, I have 2 questions for you guys. We have
Yeah.
3 minutes left
All right.
on this. Just quick answers. So for tomorrow night, we on Friday. So we're recording this on Thursday. What's say 27th?
Yeah.
Tomorrow night, Friday night, it's Golden Knights Wild Game 7. Give me a quick prediction.
Ooh.
Who
Wild.
wins and who moves on?
Minnesota.
Kirill Kaprizov, Wild, best player ever.
I'm taking the Vegas Golden Knights. Flower is gonna have an insane game, and they're gonna go off. I know I'm underrating the Wild. They've had a great series so far, but I'm taking the Vegas Golden Knights. So I think they're gonna stop the run.
Okay. What do you think, Kyle?
I'm gonna say Vegas Golden Knights. Marc-Andre Fleury is gonna get the shutout. It's gonna be 1-0 win in overtime.
Okay, I like it.
And
I wouldn't
then
be surprised.
my last 2 questions are going to be hold on. So just pretend the Predators beat the Hurricanes tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes to
Mhm.
Game 7. Who wins?
Nashville.
Gotta go
Nashville.
Nashville. Wait, where is it at?
It's in Carolina.
Oh, it's in
North
Carolina.
Carolina. Game 7 would be
man.
in North Carolina.
I might have to go Carolina just for the atmosphere.
Okay.
Nashville is winning 3-2 right now. So that's
Yeah,
gonna be
Dougie
pretty
just
close.
scored a goal.
Yeah.
And then what's the last?
I'm taking Carolina.
And then the last series after that is what?
I'm taking Carolina also.
Canadians,
Smart.
Leafs.
Leafs.
Leafs are gonna end that one in Game 6. They
Yeah.
aren't letting this one. They aren't gonna let this one get away from them.
The hatred of mine towards the Leafs is telling me to go Canadians.
Well, we hate both teams. Come on.
But yeah, I hate the Leafs a little bit more than the Canadians. Not gonna lie, but I'm gonna go the Leafs. They can't stop that much longer. Jack Campbell's gonna have a pretty solid game, and so I'm definitely gonna take the Leafs for sure.
And for what it's worth, we do like Canada. We like your poutine fries. Thank you.
But you're gonna go to watch we're gonna take a look at the Hall of Fame too. So we'll take a trip to Toronto, but not wear any Bruins jerseys.
Yep. But then it looks like this weekend, everything. I think Monday the latest, everything will be caught up. If that Maple Leafs Canadian series goes 7, I think the last Game 7's Monday. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think that's it for this video. I think for round 3, if we get to the next round, Bruins in it or Bruins without it, I think we'll go more in depth because then it'll be less teams, easier to go through the video and stuff. But yeah, I think that's the end of this, and I hope you guys have a good night. But before we go, here's a quick word from our sponsor. All right, there's our sponsor video, and anybody have anything to say in the last minute?
I got one more thing to say. Free Connor McDavid, please.
Yes.
Connor McDavid, the Boston, make it happen somehow.
Free both Jack Eichel and Connor McDavid. Both those guys from that draft are absolutely hating life right now.
Free them to the Taylor Hall love of how Taylor Hall loves wearing the spoke to be.
Mm-hmm. Make it happen.
Couldn't have said it
Imagine a
better.
Taylor Hall McDavid Krejci line.
Yes.